So Super Rugby Round 7 is about to get underway. We've got 2 games on Friday. The Chiefs versus the Highlanders in Hamilton, followed up by the Melbourne Rebels against the Hurricanes, obviously over in Melbourne. So for the first one, Chiefs-Highlanders, 2 teams with the same record, 3 wins and 1 loss. They're going to be going at it. What's the difference between these teams? It's hard to say. The Highlanders haven't had much time on the road this season so far. They lost their 1 away game to the Hurricanes last week. The Chiefs are a team with a lot of guys out. So very different coming into this game. The Chiefs are coming back from Japan. This is one thing that might kind of end up being a factor, is the travel. I mean, it's not a huge trip, but it's still enough. It's still quite a few time zones to be shifting through. And in that result last week they got against the Sunwolves, they absolutely smashed the Sunwolves. But none of the talk was really about how good the Chiefs were. It was all about how bad the Sunwolves were. So I guess it's more of a test of the Chiefs' kind of true ability this week, because if they win this, they'll actually get some credit for it. For the Highlanders, a great start to the season. 3 home games on the trot with a disruption of a bye early on, kind of not setting them back. But yeah, they'll have to overcome their away record, although it's only 1 at the moment. But they'll need to get an away win because the New Zealand Conference is competitive. Every derby game is really crucial. So even though it's away, they're still going to need to try and pick up some points, if not just a bonus point. In terms of the lineups, the Chiefs have done a bit of shuffling around, but not too much. So Boshi is out and Messam is in. Ngatai comes back in from injury and makes the bench. Brad Weber starts this week. Alai Malo's moved to the fullback, so Wainui's on the wing. Marty McKenzie's relegated to the bench, and his brother Damien remains at 10, so no spot for Tian Falcon. And it is Sam Cane's 100th Super Rugby game, so that's a good achievement for him. We've had a few guys bringing up their 100s recently. In terms of the Highlanders squad, so Liam Coltman's apparently unwell. Ash Dixon starts. Tokalahi comes into tight head, so Lomax is on the bench. Josh Dixon gets his first start of the season in the second row. So if you want a team with Dixons, although the spellings are not all the same, you got Josh Dixon, you got Elliot Dixon, and you've got Ash Dixon. So if you wanted a team with Dixons, the Highlanders are your team. Matt Faddis starts, so there's no Walden this week. Thompson goes into 12 because Faddis is going to be at 13. So neither squad hugely changed. The Highlanders with a bit more movement around. They both played on Saturday, so there's no difference in terms of their rest. But like I said, the Chiefs do have that chip from Japan that they've just come back from. To be fair, as much as the Chiefs need to kind of maintain their home winning record, the Highlanders equally need to get an away win, because there's no other way to really get ahead in the New Zealand Conference. The expectation is you win against non-New Zealand teams pretty much without exception. I know there's some teams who will cause upsets, but the expectation is still there based on recent form. So if you want to get ahead in New Zealand Conference, you need to pick up a few away wins. So big pressure on both of them, probably more on the Chiefs to be fair, although the Highlanders won't want to go 2 losses in a row. Basically, whoever loses this game is going to be 4th in the New Zealand Conference, because these guys are 3rd and 4th behind the Hurricanes and the Crusaders. Hello, Van. So whoever loses this is going to be only 1 step above the Blues. You don't want that. So it's a high pressure game. The bookies have got them at exact evens. There's no favourite. So I guess the Chiefs, if they've got home advantage, probably have a lot more injuries in their squad. Highlanders are playing away, but probably like in terms of their squad, stronger all round. Like starting lineup, they don't have as many guys out with injury as the Chiefs. So should be a cracker. Should be a really big game. I've been doing my whole North and South teams thing on some other videos recently, so this is a semi-matchup of that. In the next game, the Rebels against the Hurricanes. So it's being billed as kind of a really massive clash between top Australian team and top New Zealand team. It's being also billed as a big test for the Rebels to see where they're truly at, because they look like contenders so far with a 4-1-0 record, but there's been questions about the quality of the opposition they've played so far. So it's kind of a, are they contenders or are they just pretenders game. So the Rebels, it's not their fault for the scheduling. They can only play the games they're given, and they've only had the one loss. All their games they've won have looked pretty comfortable. Even the game that they lost, they kind of looked good in one half. It's just the second half they kind of went to custard. So yeah, it's for the chances. There goes that van. I don't know what he was doing, but he came and went pretty quickly. So the positions they've been put in, they've just gone in and done the job. So credit to them for that. You don't get to top of the table without putting in some good performances. For the Canes, they had a pretty, in terms of scheduling, they had a tough schedule because they started their season away in South Africa. They slipped up in that first game and have just built on things from there. Win in Argentina, win over the Crusaders and the Highlanders, which are both pretty tough teams. So in terms of build-up, the Hurricanes have had the harder road and they've played the tougher teams, but equally the Rebels have done the job in the games that they've been given. So it'll be a tough one. For the Rebels, Tamani is back at 6 and Matt Phillip is back in the second row. So Parling is out and Faenga is relegated to the bench. No Dane Haylett-Petty. He's still not quite right from his head knock. Naivalu's on the bench, so English is on the wing. And interestingly, the coach has gone with a 6-2 split with 6 forwards and 2 backs on the bench. So you would think he's going to try and rough those Hurricanes guys up with some big forward play. For the Hurricanes, still no Adi, Savia or Proctor from last week. Henwood comes in at 7. Arso moves into 13 and Hussein is on the bench. The Canes have gone for a more traditional 5-3 split in terms of 5 forwards and 3 backs. So yeah, the Rebels are being really talked up as like the only shining hope or light or whatever it is for Aussie rugby. I think that's probably putting too much pressure on them that they don't need. Aussie media is putting it on a fair bit. So I don't really think it's necessary. This is not a do or die game. This is not the All Blacks against the Wallabies. So I don't know that there's that much added pressure needed. It's always going to be hard to play the Hurricanes. So I don't see that doing them any favours as much as they'll try and block themselves out from all that. Yeah, they just need to get on with the job. New Zealand media, on the other hand, is not impressed. Pretty much written them off. They're saying that the Rebels have not really played anyone and that the Hurricanes are going to smash them, essentially. So we'll see. I'm hoping it's a good game. I'm hoping the Rebels, if they do go down, at least make it close. Or if they could get a win, that would probably add more pressure to the Rebels in terms of expectations on beating New Zealand teams. But it'd be good to shake the competition up, because an upset, I don't know, you got to love an underdog, and an upset just means things that you don't get those teams that kind of streak away and leave everyone for dust. So it'll make the playoffs race more interesting, and hey, the Blues might get a chance to catch some teams up. Ultimate result for the Blues here, I think, is maybe a draw and a Rebels win. Just saying. Anyway, the bookies have got the Canes winning by 10. So they're not giving the Rebels a big shot, but they're still giving them a mild shot. I think the Rebels are paying like $4 something to win this one. So yeah, despite a 4-1-0 record and being at home, they're not favoured to win this one, but I guess we will see. What are your guys' thoughts? I think these games are both pretty interesting looking ones. Who do you think will take it? Chiefs, Highlanders, Rebels, Hurricanes? I don't want to pick. I'm not going to pick. Maybe another time I'll do some picks, but last week I think I actually would have got them mostly right, except I don't think I would have picked the Jaguares, although a surprising amount of people did pick the Jaguares to get that one over the Lions. Anyway, getting distracted. Time for me to go. I'll talk to you guys again soon.